Good evening, guys. It's your bro Richie here. Tonight's video is now part 2 on the part 2 on the GM part 2 on the GM LS based small block motor. So tonight's video, this is now part 2 on the GM. This is now part 2 on the GM LS. This is part 2 on the GM LS based small block motor. And tonight's video I'll be talking to you about the first in tonight's video I'll be talking to you about one of the best LS motors ever. So tonight's video I'll be talking to you about the Gen 3 LS motor from 1997 to 2007. Alright, so before I start, make sure you guys all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell, and hit all so you when I make brand new uploads. So, wait, what? Alright, so without any further ado, let's begin. So the Gen 3 LS Gen 3 LS motor. So the Gen 3 LS motor from 1987 to 2007. Alright, so overviews first, so let's do it. So, manufacturer is obviously by GM. General Motors. It's also called the Vortec. It's also called Vortec. Production was between production was from 97 to 07. Next is layout. The configuration was a 90 degree V8. Displacement was up to these 4 versions: a 4.8 liter, a 4.8 liter, 293, 5.3 liter, 325, a 5.6 liter, 345, and a 5.9, well, 6 liter, 364. Cylinder bore was 96 millimeters, 3.78 inches, close to 3.8 inches roughly, and 99 millimeters, 3.9 inches, and 101.6 millimeters, 4 inches dead on. Piston stroke was between 83 to 92 millimeters, 3.27 to 3.62 inches. For both the cylinder block and cylinder head materials are both aluminum and cast iron, while the cast iron for the cylinder head material was only for the LQ4 from 1999 to 2000. The valve train was an overhead valve, two valve, overhead valve, overhead valve, two valve, overhead valve, so OHV, two valves per cylinder. Next is the combustion. For the fuel system, it was a sequential multi-port fuel injection. Fuel type was either gasoline or E80, so it was gasoline and E85. Oil system was a wet sump. Cooling system was water cooled. Dimensions is next. Not much higher, just the weight, but it's dry weight is without the fluids and oil and coolant, all that. It's between 500 to 580 pounds, which is between 230 to 260 kilos. Chronology is next. Predecessors were both a Gen 1 and Gen 2, and the successor was a Gen 4. Okay, moving on. So the Gen 3 small block V8s, V8C clean sheet GM design produced from 97 to 07, which replaced the Chevy Gen 1 and which replaced both the Chevy Gen 1 and 2 motor families derived from the long-standing Chevy small block V8 produced between 1954 and 2003. Like the previous two gens, both the Buick and Oldsmobile both the Buick and Oldsmobile small blocks. Both the Buick and Oldsmobile small blocks. Both the Gen 3 and 4, both the Gen 3 and 4 can be found in many. Excuse me. Both the Gen 3 and 4 can be found. Both the Gen 3 and 4 can be found in many different brands. The blocks were cast in aluminum for car applications. So for car applications, and cast iron for most truck applications. Notable exceptions included the Chevy Trailblazer SS, Chevy SSR, Chevy SSR, and the limited run of Chevy Silverado and GM Sierra Extended GMC Sierra Extended Cab, standard box 4-wheel drive trucks. The architecture of the LS series makes for an extremely strong motor block for an extremely strong block, with the aluminum motors being nearly as strong as the cast iron Gen 1 and 2 motors. The LS also used the LS motor also used coil near plug style ignition to replace the distributor setup. The LS also used coil near plug style ignition coil near plug style ignition to replace the distributor setup of all previous small block based motors. The traditional 5-bolt pentagonal cylinder head pattern, which is like the bolts shaped in pentagons, was replaced with a square 4-bolt design, because the square has 4 sides. Much like the 6490 Oldsmobile V8, and the pistons are of the flat-topped variety in the LS1, LS2, LS3, so LS1, LS2, LS3, LS1, LS2, LS3, LS6, LS7, LQ9, and L33, while all other variants, including both the new LS9 and LQ4 truck motors, received a dished version of the GM dished version of the GM so a dished version of the GM hypertectic piston. The cylinder firing orders changed to 1 1 8 so 1 8 7 2 6543, so that the LS series now corresponds now corresponds to the firing pattern of so firing order so now corresponds to the firing pattern now corresponds to the firing pattern now corresponds to the firing pattern of other modern V8s, for example, of all modern V8s, for example, the Ford modular V8. They find in mostly Mustangs, Ford GTs, and some F-150s, pickup trucks. Alright, next is the 3.89, so 3.898 inch bore blocks from the years 97 to '05. The first, so the next one we got is a 3.898 inch bore blocks from 97 to '05. The first of the Gen 3s, the LS1s, the progenitor, I can't pronounce it, but it's spelled P-R-O, G-E-N ITOR of the new architecture design that would transform the entire V8 line and influence the last of the big blocks. Starting off with the first one, it's a 5.7 liter, not much on it. So the Gen 3 5.7 liter, both LS1 and LS6 motors share little other than similar displacement, external dimensions, and rod bearings. With its predecessor, the LT1, it's an all-aluminum 5.7 liter 5.7 liter 345, well 350 technically, pushrod V8 with both a board stroke of 99 by 92 millimeters, 3.898 by 3.622 inches. Next is the LS1. When introduced, so next is the LS1. When introduced in the 97 Corvette, the LS1s rated at 5,600 RPM at 345 horsepower, which is pretty good, and at 4,400 RPM, 350 pound-feet, 475 newton-meters of torque, is at 4,400 RPM, a little less than 4,500 RPM by 100 RPMs less. After improvements to both the intake and exhaust manifolds in 2001, the rating improved to 350 horsepower, pretty good, a little bit more power, and 365 pound-feet. So 365 pound-feet, 495 newton-meters of torque. And there was also 375 pound-feet, 508 newton-meters of torque. And that's for the manual Corvettes. So those are a little bit less, or probably automatics. But more is for the manual Corvettes. I don't know. Anyways, so the LS1s used in the Corvette from the so the LS1s used in the C5 Corvette from the years 97 to '04. It's also used in the 98 It's also used in the 98 to 02 GM F-body Camaro and Firebird cars with a rating of over between 300 between 305 to 345 horsepower, so 40 horsepower difference there, which was rumored to be conservative. The extra horsepower, the extra horsepower is claimed to be the extra horsepower is claimed to be from the intake ram air effect available in both the SS and WS6 models. In Australia, continuous mods were made to the LS1 throughout its lifetime, reaching 382 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque in the HSV's VY2 series, and the Callaway modified version named C4B was fitted to HSV GTS models, producing 400 horsepower and 376 pound-feet, 510 newton meters of torque. Alright, next up we got is the applications. So there's, quite a lot. Okay, well, 15 cards, what? I'll try to as fast as I can. So the first one is a 9704 C5 Corvette at 5600 RPM between 345 to 350 horsepower and at 4400 RPM between 350 to 375 pound-feet, 475 to 508 newton meters of torque. Next is the 9802 Pontiac Firebird Formula Trans Am. Then we got 305 to 345 horsepower at same RPM, same RPM for power and torque as a Corvette, and say 305 to 345 horsepower, 335 pound-feet, 454 newton meters of torque. So next is number 3, from the same year, the Camaro Z28, with 305 horsepower to 310 horsepower at 5200 RPM. Torque RPM still remains the same, between 335 to 340 pound-feet, 454 to 461 newton meters. Next is the 9802 from the same year, the Camaro SS, with between 320 to 325 horsepower. Same RPM for power, same RPM for torque, but torque is between 345 to 350 pound-feet, 468 to 475 newton meters of torque. That's same RPMs. Next, number 5 is the 99 2000 Holden VT2 Commodore at 5,000 RPM, 295 horsepower. So at 5,000 RPM, 295 horsepower. And at same RPM for torque, 329 pound-feet, 446 newton meters. Same RPM. Next is the 2000. Wait. 2, 3, 4. Next, number 6 is the 2000. Is the 2000 to 03 Holdens, such as both the VX Commodore and VU Ute. 5200 RPM, 302 horsepower, and at 4400 RPM, 340 pound-feet, 461 newton meters of torque. Next is the same from the same year, the HSV. HSV VX slash VU, so VX slash VU, with 342 horsepower at 5600 RPM. For torque, it's 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. Next is the another Holden Commodore, but the VY version. So Holden VY Commodore from '02 to '04. Powers between 302 to 302 to 315 horsepower at 5200 RPM, and at 5600 RPM around 330 horsepower. Torque was between 4,000 to 4,400 RPM, between 343 to 350 pound-feet, 465 to 475 newton meters of torque. So the one with the most amount of torque is an extra 400 RPMs more than the one with the least amount. And from the same year, we got the HSV Y series. Between 56 to 5800 RPM, around 350 to 382 horsepower. And between 4,000 to 4,000 to 4,800 RPM, 350. Wait, hold on. So at 4,800 RPM. So between 56 to 5800 RPMs, 350 to 382 horsepower, and then around 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM, and apparently 376 horsepower, well 380 at 4,800 RPM. So there was a little bit of a correction going on for that. But surely that should be like 376 pound-feet, I'm not sure. Roughly around probably 500, so 510 newton meters probably, I don't know. But there was some correction going on. Whenever I do these videos, there's some correction going on with the information, but oh well. It happens occasionally at different points, but oh well. It's how it goes. Anyways, so apparently 376 horsepower at 4,800 RPM for the HSV Y series. Anyways, next is the 0405 Holden VZ Commodore at between 315 to 335 horsepower, between 56 to around 5600 RPM for both. Around between 4,000 to 4,800 RPMs, 339 to 347 pound-feet, 460 to 470 newton meters of torque, so between 4,000 to 4,800 RPMs. So the one with the most amount of RPMs will be the one with the most amount of torque. Next is the 2004 Pontiac GTO with 5,200 RPM, 350 horsepower. Pretty good. So at 5,200 RPM, and at 4,000 RPM, 365 pound-feet, 495 newton meters of torque. Add an extra 3 pound-feet, 5 newton meters, you get 368 pound-feet, 500 newton meters of torque. The same torque as a Mark V Super 6-cylinder. So 365 pound-feet, 495 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. Next is the 0104 HSV GTO. Between, so at 5,600 RPM, so 5,600 RPM, a 40 horsepower difference between 342 to 382 horsepower, and between 44 to 4,800 RPM, 350 to 376 pound-feet, 475 to 510 newton meters of torque. Next is the 9905 Holden Statesman. Around 295 horsepower at 5,000 RPM, between 315 to nearly 330 horsepower at 5,200 RPM. It's actually 200 RPMs more than the one with 295 horsepower. Torque between 323 to 343 pound-feet, 438 to 465 newton meters at 4,400 RPM, and at 4,000 RPM, around 340 pound-feet, 460 newton meters of torque. Two left. So next is the 0105 Holden Monaro between 300 and 5,200 RPM at 5,200 RPM between 302 to 328 horsepower at 5,200 RPM. And then we got another one between 5,600 RPM, 350 horsepower. Torque was between 340 to 343 pound-feet, 460 to 465 newton meters of torque at 4,400 RPM, and around 350 pound-feet, well 347 pound-feet, 470 newton meters at 4,000 RPM. The last so at the very least we got us to 05 or 2005. HSV Z Series Avalanche or Avalanche, whatever you want to call it. At 5700 RPM, 362 horsepower. At around 4,000 RPM, 350 pound-feet, 475 newton meters of torque. Next we got is the mighty LS6 that you find in the Z06 Corvette. Perfect. It keeps getting better. Alright, so for the LS6. Alright, next is the LS6. So the LS6 is a higher output version of the of GM's LS1 and LS1 motor, and retains the same exact capacity. The initial 2001 LS6 produced around 385 horsepower, pretty good, the same as the 981 came with GT4, and the same number in torque, 385 pound-feet, around 522 newton meters of torque. But the motor is modified for 02 through 04 to produce 405 horsepower and 400 pound-feet, 542 newton meters of torque. The LS6 is originally only used in the high performance C5 Z06 in the Corvette C5 Z06 model, with the Cadillac CTS V series getting the 400 horsepower motor later. The V series used the LS6 for 2 years before being replaced by the LS2. So the V series the V series used the LS6 for 2 years before being replaced by the LS2 in 2006. For 06, the Z06 replaced the LS6 with a new LS7. The LS6 shares its basic block architecture with the GM LS1, but other changes were made to the design, such as windows cast into the into the block between cylinders, improved main web strength and bay to bay breathing. Interesting. Intake manifold MAF or mass airflow sensor with higher flow capacity, camshaft with higher lift and more duration, higher compression ratio of 10.5 to 1, sodium filled sodium-filled exhaust valves, sodium-filled exhaust valves, and a revised oil system, or oiling system, whatever you want to call it, better suited to high lateral acceleration. Better suited to high lateral acceleration. So to high lateral acceleration. So acceleration. LS6 intake manifolds were also used on all 2001 plus, so '01 plus LS1, LS6 motors. So LS1/6, so LS1 6 motors. The casting number located on the top rear edge. The casting number located on the top rear edge of the block is. If we want to find out what it is, it's 125 61168. The SSC Ultimate Aero TT, which is twin turbo, also utilized the LS6, albeit with an enlarged displacement of 6.3 liters, which is 384.4 cubic inches, and the addition of twin turbos, so two turbochargers. Now we got applications. There's not much on there. So starting off with the first one is from '01 to '04, the C506 at 6,000 RPM is between 385 to 405 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, and at 4,800 RPM between 385 to 400 pound-feet, 522 to 542 newton meters of torque. So at 4,800 RPM. Next is the '04-'05 Cadillac CTS-V series. Around 6,000, same RPM as the Corvette, but 400 horsepower only. The same RPM for torque, but at 395 pound-feet, 536 newton meters. So same RPM. Then the '07-'08 modified version of the SSC Ultimate Aero TT, which at 6,950 RPMs, it made a colossal 1,180 horsepower. That's more than the Bugatti Veyron, but close to the SS version of that. By just 20 horsepower difference there. And you're sure the SS Veyron has at least 20 horsepower more. But the Ultimate Aero TT is just much lighter. Carbon fiber pretty much. So at 6,950 RPMs, 1,180, well, nearly 1,200 horsepower. And at 6,150 RPMs, 1,106 pound-feet, dead on at 1,500 newton meters of torque. Next is a 3.78 inch bore blocks from '99 to '07. So there's not much on there. So both the 4.8 and 5.3 liter, both the 4.8 and 5.3 liters are smaller truck versions of the LS1 and were designed to replace both the 5 liter 305 and the 5.7 liter 350 trucks. Both the 4.8 and 5.3 liter motors share the same Gen 3 LS series block and heads or upper end, and therefore most parts interchange freely between these motors and other variants in the LS family. First one is the 4.8 liter LR4. So the Vortec 4800, so 4.8 liter LR4, VIN code was V, is a Gen 3 small block V8 truck motor. Displacement's 4.8 liters with a bore stroke of 96 by 83 millimeters, 3.78 by 3.27 inches, It's the smallest of the Gen 3 Vortec truck motors. The LR4s in 1999, so in 99 produced 255 horsepower, while the 2000 versions and above models made between 270 to 285 horsepower, and all have a torque rating between 285 to 295 pound-feet, 386 to 400 newton meters of torque, depending on both the model year and application, obviously. The 0506 models made 285 horsepower and 295 pound-feet, 400 newton meters of torque. The LR4 is manufactured at St. Catharines in Ontario, Canada, both that and at Romulus. So it's manufactured in both St. Catharines, the most populous city of St. Catharines, which is the largest urban area in the province of Ontario, Canada. Around 51 kilometers, 32 miles south of Toronto, across Lake Ontario. It is 19 kilometers, 12 miles inland, inland from the international boundary with the U.S. along the Niagara River or Niagara Falls, which is next to the Canadian border. I think it's near or next to the Canadian border. I'm not too sure. So the LR4 is manufactured both at St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and at the city of Romulus, Wayne County, Wayne County, Michigan. So Romulus, Wayne County, Michigan. It uses flat top pistons. Next is applications again. Say again. So, starting off with the first one of the three is the 2006 Chevy Tahoe and GMC Yukon at 5,200 RPM, between 270 285 horsepower, and at 4,000 RPM, between 285 295 pound-feet, 386 to 400 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. Next is the 9907 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra 1500 with 255 to between 255 to 285 horsepower. Same RPMs, torque is exactly the same RPMs as well. And then we got the 0307 Chevy Express and GMC Savannah 2500 and 3500 between 275 to 285 horsepower. Same power RPM, but between 275 to between 275 to 285 horsepower at 5,200 RPM. Torque RPM remains the same, but it's around this time 290 to 295 pound-feet, 393 to 400 newton meters of torque. Same exact RPM 4000s. Next is the 5.3 liter, the Vortec 5300 or LM7 L59 LM4s, a V8 LM7 L59 LM4s, a V8 truck motor. It's a longer stroked by 9mm 0.35 inch version of the Vortec 4800 and replaced the L31. L59 denoted a flexible fuel version or flex fuel version of the standard fuel LM7 motor. Displacement's 5.3 liters from both a board stroke of 96 by 92 millimeters, 3.78 by 3.62 inches. Vortec 5300s were built in St. Catharines, Ohio. Vortec 5300s were built in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and Romulus, Michigan. The aluminum block variants, such as both the LM4 and the L33 share the same displacement, but instead use an aluminum block with cast-in cylinder liners, much like the LS1. Next is the LM7, the Vortec 5300 LM7 VIN code, eighth digit was T. So T was introduced in 1999. The Garden variety, Gen 3 V8s. So the Garden variety, Gen 3 V8 has a cast iron block and aluminum heads. The 99 LM7 produced 270 horsepower and 315 pound-feet, 427 newton-meters of torque. The 2003 motors produced 285 horsepower and 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque. The 0407, the 0407 motors produced 295 horsepower and 335 pound-feet, 454 newton-meters of torque. Um, the stock cam specs at 0.050 lift are 190/191 duration, 466/457 lift, 114 LSA, and 112/116 timing. So 116 timing. Now we got again applications. So we got the first one is the 0205 Escalade two-wheel drive, so the rear-wheel drive version. Around 285, 295 horsepower, 325, 335 pound-feet, 441, 454 newton meters. Next is the 0206 Chevy Avalanche. So 0206 Chevy Avalanche 1500. Around same power, same torque, and same goes with the 0307 Chevy Express and GMC Savannah 1500 and 2500. With same power and torque anyways. Then we got the 99 07 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra 1500, and the 99 to 2000 2500 with between 270 and 295 horsepower, 315 to 335 pound-feet, 427 to 454 newton meters. And we got the 2000 to 06 Chevy Suburban and GMC Yukon LX 1500, and from the same year the Chevy Tahoe and GMC Yukon, which made the same power and torque configurations as the first three cars. So all of them made the same exact horsepower and torque, apart from the 9907 Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra 1500, and the 99 2000 2500 version, which had different power and torque configurations. But well, next is the L59, the Vortec 5300 L59 Vencoda Z is a flex fuel version of the LM7. The 0203 L59 made 285 horsepower and 320 pound-feet, 434 newton meters, while the 0407 L59 made 295 horsepower and 335 pound-feet, 335 pound-feet, 454 newton meters of torque. Now we got applications. So we got the 0206 Chevy Tahoe and GMC Yukon. From the same year, we got the Chevy Suburban and the GMC Yukon, from the same year, we got both the Chevy Suburban and the GMC Yukon LX 1500. And the 0506 Chevy Avalanche 1500. 0506 Chevy Avalanche 1500, and the 0207 Silverado, so Chevy Silverado slash GMC Sierra 1500. All make the same power and torque, between 285 to 295 horsepower and 320 to 335 pound-feet, 434 to 454 newton meters of torque. It's weird how they all make the same exact power and torque. Oh my god, this is crazy. Anyway, so next is the LM4, the Vortec 5300 LM4 VIN code was P. So it's an so it's an aluminum block version, so an aluminum version of the LM7 and had just a short production life, um, as did the specific cars in which LM4s are found. LM4s made 290 horsepower and 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque. Both the LM4 and LS7, both the LM4 and the LM7 shouldn't be confused with the L33 described below. So we got these cars which make the same exact power, 290 horsepower at 5200, so 290 horsepower at 5200 RPM, and the same torque, 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque. So 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So the cars that make the same exact power and torque configurations at the same exact RPM levels were the 0304 from those same years, the Isuzu, so the 0304 Isuzu Ascender, same year the GMC Envoy. It's like saying enjoy, but taking out the letter J and replacing it with a V between the N and the O. So the GMC Envoy XL, and from the same year the Chevy SSR pickup truck, which I quite like. And we also got from the same year as the 04 GMC Envoy XUV and the Buick Rainer, and from 03 till and from 0305 the Chevy Trailblazer the Chevy Trailblazer EXT. All make all make at 5200 RPM. So all make at 5200 RPM 290 horsepower, and at 4000 RPM 325 pound-feet, 441 newton-meters of torque. Next is the L33. So the Vortec 5300 LS. So the Vortec 5300 LS3 motor, VIN code was B, was marketed as the Vortec 5300 HO. HO stands for high output. While it used the same aluminum or aluminium block as was used in the LM4, the L33 included some major differences from the LM4, resulting in higher output than both the LM4 and LM7 motors. Instead of the usual LM4's dished pistons, the LS3 instead of the LM4's dished pistons, the L33 used the 4.8 liters flat top pistons. It also used nearly 800 cylinder heads. Well, 799. Well, 800 cylinder heads. That's crazy. Identical to 243 castings found on both LS6s and LS2s. Lacking only LS6 spec valve springs, sorry, valve springs and valve springs and lightweight valves. This combination raised the compression ratio from 9.5 to 1 to 10 to 1, 0.5 more than previously. The LS3 also used the LS3 also used the LS3 also not LS3 not LS3 sorry the L33 also used a unique camshaft not shared with any other motor, with the specs at 0.050 duration being 193 duration, 482, 482 lift, 116 LSA. As a result, power increased by just 15 extra horsepower, from 295 to 310 horsepower, which is pretty good. And 335 pound-feet. So 335 pound-feet, 454 newton meters of torque. It's available in extended cab, standard bed, four-wheel drive pickup trucks. Only 25% of only 25% of 2005 Chevy GM Chevy GMC full size pickup trucks had an L33 motor. And we got applications, so only just one. So we got the 0507 Chevy Silverado, um, and GMC Sierra, both 1500 four-wheel drive at 5200 RPM. At 5200 RPM, it made 310 horsepower. So it made at 5200 RPM. So at 5200 RPM, it made 310 horsepower, and at 4000 RPM, 335 pound-feet, 454 newton meters of torque. 4000 RPM is pretty good. Next, we got us the 4-inch bore blocks from 99 to 07. So the 6 liters, a larger version of the LS motor. 6-liter blocks were cast iron, designed to bridge the gap between both the new small and big blocks in truck applications. There are two versions of this motor, LQ4, so LQ4 and LQ9, the latter being more performance oriented. Next is the 6-liter. The Vortex 6000's a V8 truck motor. Displacement is obviously 6 liters from a bore stroke of 101.6 by 101.6 by 92 millimeters, 4 by 3.62 inches. It's a cast iron aluminum 99 and 2000 model year motors had cast iron heads. Designed and produces 300 to 345 horsepower, so between 300 to 345 horsepower, and between 360 to 380, 360 to 380, 360 to 380, so 360 to 380 pound-feet, 488 to 515 newton meters of torque. Next is the LQ4. The Vortex 6000 LQ4 VIN code use a V8 truck motor. It produces 300 to 335 horsepower and 360 to 380 pound-feet, 488 to 515 newton meters of torque. LQ4s were built in both Romulus, Michigan, in the city of Romulus, Wayne County, Michigan. And Silao, Mexico, officially known as Silao de la Victoria, which is a city in the west central part of the state of Guanajuato in Mexico. I don't know how to properly pronounce it, but oh well. It's the seat of the municipality with the same name. As of the 2005 census, the year I was born, The city had a population of 66,485 people, making it the seventh largest city in the state. Silao is also the center of both agricultural and industrial activity. Not too bad. Alright, so the Vortex 6000 LQ4 Venkoda Zoo. It's a V8 truck motor, produces between 300 to 345 horsepower, 300 to 335 horsepower, and 360 to 380 pound-feet, 488 to 515 newton meters. LQ4s were built in in Romulus, in the city of Romulus, Wayne County, Michigan, and Silao, Mexico, or Mexico. Alright, next is applications. So we got first a 9907 Chevy Silverado slash GMC Sierra 1500 HD 2500, 2500 HD, and 3500. It made at 4400 RPM, 300 horsepower, and at 4000 RPM, 360 pound-feet, 488 newton meters of torque. Then we got the 01 GMC, a couple of GMCs we got. So the first one we got is the 01 Sierra C3 at 5200 RPM, 325 horsepower, same RPM for torque, but 370 pound-feet. So 370 pound-feet, 502 newton meters. Then we got the 0207 Sierra Denali with the same power and same torque at the same exact RPMs. Then we got the 2000 to 06 Chevy Suburban and Chevy Suburban and GMC Yukon XL, both 2500s at 5200 RPM, between 300 to 320 horsepower, and so it's 5200 RPM, between 300 to 320 horsepower, and at 4000 RPM, between 355 to 375 pound-feet, 481 to 508, so 508 newton meters. Then we got the 0207 Hummer H, 0207 Hummer H2. Before the H3, I mean, it was deceased pretty much from existence. Like, I wouldn't really do Hummers at all. I don't know if I will, but I did one for Fast and Furious, but that was just pretty much it. I don't know if I'll do it realistically, but I'm not sure. I doubt it, but we'll find out. Anyway, so we got the 0207 Hummer H2 between 316 to 325 horsepower. So 316 to 325 horsepower, 5200 RPM, and at 4000 RPM, 360 to 365 pound-feet, 488 to 495 newton meters. So at 4000 RPM. Next we got from this same year, but from 02 to 06 this time, the GMC Yukon slash Yukon XL Denali and Chevy Suburban 1500 LTZ between 325 to 335 horsepower at same RPM for power and same RPM for torque, 370 to 380 pound-feet, 502 to 515 newton meters, so same RPM pretty much. And last but certainly not the released we got is both the 0307 Chevy Express, so 0307 Chevy Express slash GMC Savannah 2500 and 3500, and the 0308 Chevy W Series, GMC W Series, and Isuzu NPR. Those cars have between 300 to 325 horsepower at 4400 RPM, and at 4000 RPM around between 360 to 375 pound-feet, 488 to 508 newton meters. It's at 4000 RPM. Okay, last but certainly not the very least we got. Is the LQ9. So the Vortec HO high output 6000 or Vortec Max Vincodo Zen is a special high output version of the Vortec 6000 V8 truck motor, originally designed for Cadillac in the year '02. This motor is renamed as the Vortec Max for 2006. It features high compression 10 to 1 flat top pistons for an extra 20 horsepower increase and 10 pound-feet 10 pound-feet 14 newton meters, bringing output to 345 horsepower, so 345 horsepower and 380 pound-feet 515 newton meters of torque. So 345 horsepower and 380 and so 345 horsepower, 345 horsepower and 308 pound-feet, so 345 horsepower and 380 pound-feet, 515 newton meters of torque. Vehicles, so cars fitted with the LQ9 came exclusively with the cars fitted with the LQ9 cars fitted with the LQ9 came exclusively with a 4.10 to 1 rear axle ratio. LQ9s were built only in Romulus, Michigan. So the cars that have this, so the cars that were included for this, so the cars that had this motor, the LQ9, were the 0206, so were the Cadillac, so Cadillac, so we got the Cadillac Escalades, so we got the 0206 all-wheel drive, 0506 two-wheel drive, or just rear-wheel drive technically, 0206 Escalade EXT, and the 0306 Escalade ESV. Then we got the 0307 Chevy Silverado SS, and HO or high output edition. So 0307, and then from 0506 we got is 0506 we got as the 0506 we got as the GMC Sierra Denali. And last but certainly not the very least, we got as the 0607 Chevy Silverado Classic. So Chevy Silverado Classic Vortec Max slash GMC Sierra Classic Vortec Max. All have the same exact power and torque configuration levels. At 5,200 RPM, it made 345 horsepower. 5,200 RPM, 345 horsepower. At 5,200 RPMs, 345 horsepower, which is pretty good. And at 4,000 RPM, 380 pound-feet, 515 newton meters of torque. So 380 pound-feet. So 380 pound-feet. So 380 pound-feet, 515. So 380 pound-feet, 515 newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. All right, so that'll be pretty much it for tonight. So that'll be it for tonight. So that'll be it for tonight. So for my next, that'll be it for tonight. So for my next, LS motor will be about the Gen 5 from 2005. Not Gen 5, sorry. The Gen 4. Sorry. So for my next GM LS motor video will be so for my next GM LS derived motor video, small blog technically, will be about the Gen 4. Sorry I spoke too soon, I apologize. Will be about the Gen 4. will be about the Gen 4 motor. So the Gen 4 motor from 2005, the year I was born, to 2020. So not much going on, but oh well. Okay, so there's gonna be quite a lot for this, but okay. Holy hell. Okay, this requires a lot of work for this. Oh my god. Unfreaking believable. What? Oh my god, Lord. Man, oh man. This is gonna take a while for this. Okay, so yeah. Well, I'll see what I can do. So for my next video will be about the Gen 4 motor from '05 to 2020. Okay, so that'll be it. If you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell, and hit all so you'll know when I make radio uploads. Okay, so see what the time is. Hopefully it's not till 12, because if it is, I'm screwed. So if it is, I'm screwed. I won't be able to get up for tomorrow. So, oh, 11:07. Not too bad. Okay, so that'll be it. um, so if you guys like this video, subscribe, comment down below. comment down below what you guys think. Hit that notification bell and hit all so you'll know when I make pretty uploads. Alright, so that'll be it. I gotta go upstairs to sleep. Gotta wake up early tomorrow for college. Well, at the church. To the church, actually, because I'm still doing work there, painting and whatnot. But it is a lot to do, so it's gonna take some time. So I want you guys just to be patient with me. I'll get that done as much as I can, and then I'll try to do some more videos as much as I can as possible. I'll see what I can do. A lot of you guys are wondering, when are you gonna do the Cars from Furious 7? Well, first, I'm currently doing the motors. So I've done the Ford modular engine, now I'm doing the GM LS engine, and after that I got the Chrysler Hemi to do. And after that, I've got the cars from Need for Speed 2014 to do. So I will, first, I will get those done first, and then I will do the Cars from Furious 7. So it's gonna be a lot of work, but it's worth it. I'll try to see what I can do for this. I don't know when, but I'll see what I can do. Alright, so that'll be it. If you guys like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell, and hit all so later when I make pretty uploads. Okay, so I gotta go. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. It's cold, but whatever. But until then, stay safe. Have a great evening. So stay safe. Excuse me. So, but until then, stay safe. Have a great evening. And but until then, stay safe. Have a great evening, and have a great day tomorrow morning. And I'll see you guys. Soon in the next video. So yeah, take care, folks. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys soon. Good night. So, good night, folks.